Our 25th anniversary was a big deal. It was a sunny June day, and we had a huge party with family and friends under a big circus tent. My father, in a wheelchair, sat at the head table with Connie's parents and our kids. Everyone congratulated us, gave us tons of gifts, and even the mayor showed up to declare June 14th Connie and Mark Jenkins Day. Over 200 people laughed, ate, and danced all night. When we renewed our vows, there wasn't a dry eye in the place. Not just mine, but Connie's too. But in that moment, I didn't notice the crowd, our kids, or anyone else. I just saw Connie, the woman I loved and would spend the rest of my life showing how much. Megan had just come back from her honeymoon, Stuart had finished his second year of college, and Faye was done with her first. It felt great to have the house buzzing with life again. Then, a few days after the anniversary, I was returning rental stuff when I accidentally hit the fender of my truck. I turned too sharp and smashed the headlight of a brand new Lexus. The cop who came to file the report was Greg, a kid who grew up with Stuart. He'd gone from the kid always getting thrown out stealing bases to a confident cop in uniform. I was proud of him. After the paperwork, we stood chatting for a bit. "Well, Mr. Jenkins," Greg said, shaking my hand, "I gotta get back to the station. Sorry I missed your party. My parents said it was a blast." I shook his hand. "Thanks, Greg. It was a good time." He smiled. "Tell Mrs. Jenkins to be careful with stop signs. Next time, I'll give her more than a warning." I frowned. "What are you talking about?" He backpedaled fast. "Oh, I didn't mean to get anyone in trouble." I laughed it off. "It's fine. Connie doesn't always tell me about tickets. She thinks I'll get mad and take her keys, but I don't. She thinks it gives her the upper hand at dinner, so what'd she do?" Greg hesitated, then said, 2 weeks ago, on Saturday the 31st, she ran a stop sign leaving the Holiday Inn parking lot. I pulled her over and gave her a warning." "No big deal," I said, chuckling. "You did the right thing. I'll tease her about it later." After unloading the truck, I sat there thinking about what Greg said. Saturday the 31st. That stuck out. I'd been with my father that whole weekend, helping him and trying, unsuccessfully, to get him to move into an adult home. I didn't get back until late Sunday. Connie never mentioned getting a ticket, and that's when the first seed of doubt was planted. She said she'd spent the day reading at home. I figured Greg had misremembered something because Connie would never lie to me. I chalked it up as weird, but nothing more. A month after the anniversary party, my sister called. She found my father on the kitchen floor during her visit. He'd fallen that morning and couldn't get back in his chair. She said he was fine, just confused. I made plans to visit him that Saturday, hoping to get him to move. Since Stuart and Faye were home, I forced them to come with me, playing the guilt card. "You haven't seen Grandpa in a while, and he won't be around forever." They agreed. Connie said, "I'll enjoy the quiet. I need to finish my book." On the ride, Stuart talked about a girl he liked from his philosophy class, while Faye said she wasn't looking to date until after college. We argued about it, then I told them again how Connie and I had met and fallen in love. When we got there, Grandpa was overjoyed to see them. They hugged him and listened to his stories like they always did. We had lunch and enjoyed the morning. Around noon, Dad fell asleep in his chair. "Stay here and watch Grandpa. I'll be right back," I said. "I need to grab something for the dead tree in the backyard before it falls on the house." Stuart and Faye went to watch TV, and I planned to drive home for the chainsaw. But for some reason, I turned off the interstate onto Highway 40. At the bottom of the hill, I saw the Holiday Inn entrance and, without thinking, pulled into the motel parking lot. I stopped and looked around, spotting the stop sign at the bottom of the hill, the one Connie supposedly missed. It made sense how easy it could be missed. As I circled the parking lot to leave, something stopped me cold. Connie's car. I thought it might be a coincidence. Lots of silver Toyota Camrys, but only one had her license plate. Con woman. I got out, peered inside. Nothing seemed off. The doors were locked. I couldn't think of a reason why Connie would be here when she said she was home reading. I called the house. No answer. I called her cell. She picked up right away. "Hey, honey, how's it going?" she said, sounding cheerful. I don't know why, but I lied. "Oh, just grocery shopping for Dad. Tried calling the house, but no answer, so I figured I'd call your cell. Where are you?" "I'm at the mall," she said, no hesitation. "Finished my book. Decided to shop. You don't mind, do you?" I was taken aback. She lied. "No, just don't spend too much on the kids. College stuff," I said, forcing a laugh. "What time will you be home?" "Probably around 6. Want me to make dinner?" No, I'm not hungry. Feeling a bit off. I'll probably stay at Dad's tonight. Send the kids home. I'll let you know. Okay, call me when you decide, she said, sounding a little sad. Did you go by yourself? I asked, hoping I wouldn't catch her in another lie. Yeah, by car, alone. Just got here a few minutes ago. Why? She answered. Just curious. Well, have a good time. And try not to get caught at that stop sign at the Holiday Inn tonight. Bye. I hung up, waiting. But what happened next threw me off. A muffled scream came from the direction of the hotel. I looked around but saw nothing. I sat on the hood of Connie's Camry, unsure of what to do. A few minutes later, a police cruiser pulled up, and Greg stepped out. Hey, Mr. Jenkins, did you call emergency? He asked. No, Greg, I didn't. Well, someone called in about a break-in. I'll check with the manager. Greg, can you do me a favor? I asked quietly. Sure, Mr. Jenkins, anything. When you go in, can you check if Mrs. Jenkins is there and who she's with? I'll be right next door. He paused, then cursed softly. Oh, crap. I'll be right back, Mr. Jenkins. Let me find out and I'll talk to you. I waited and waited. Finally, an ambulance siren wailed in the distance. It got closer and the ambulance pulled up. Paramedics rushed in, then wheeled someone out on a stretcher and drove off. Greg came back, looking pale. I'm sorry, Mr. Jenkins, he said. There was an issue inside. The ambulance took your wife to county hospital. She tried to run through the sliding glass doors. The glass didn't break, but she's bruised, has a cut above her eye, and is pretty shaken up. The guy she was with, he left after the ambulance. I got his info, but I can't give it to you right now. You can file a request at the station tomorrow. He reached out to shake my hand, but I just stood there staring. After he left, the tears came. Somehow I made it to Dad's house, dazed. Faye saw me and ran outside. What's wrong? She asked, getting frantic when I didn't answer. I finally broke down, crying, something I'd never done in front of my kids. Seeing me like that, Faye started crying too. When Stuart came out, I managed to say, Your mom's in the hospital. Go help her. I didn't say anything else. Within seconds, they were in the car. I tossed Stuart the keys. I'm staying here tonight, I said. They stared at me like I was crazy, but drove off anyway. I checked on Dad, then collapsed on the couch, feeling my heart pound. I just stared at the floor and cried until Dad wheeled over and sat next to me. What's wrong, Mark? What's going on? I couldn't talk to him about this stuff. He was old school, always bottled up. I expected him to tell me to suck it up like he always did. But then he surprised me. Let me tell you something about your mom and me, he said, settling in his chair. After you were born, I got into trouble. Stole something from work to buy her a red dress. Got caught. I paid it back, but they fired me and called the cops. Your mom was furious. Hurt our marriage bad. For a long time, she was cold. He looked down at his hands before continuing. One day, she came home, told me she might have found a job for me. Then she hugged me. Said she forgave me. She put her pride aside, let me back in her heart. From that day on, I never did anything she wasn't proud of. She made me a better man. He looked me in the eye. I don't know what's going on, but maybe you need forgiveness. Or maybe you need to forgive like she did. Maybe this can't be forgiven. Whatever it is, I know you'll do the right thing. I'm proud of you, Mark. I love you. He put his hand on mine and bowed his head to pray. When he finished, he quietly went to his room, leaving me alone on the couch as the sun set. My phone rang all night, but I didn't answer. It kept going, and even though I was awake, I refused to pick it up. I just lay there on my dad's old couch, listening to the crickets outside, feeling crushed by the weight of it all. Morning came, but it didn't feel like a fresh start. I still felt like I was falling. I made breakfast for Dad, then went out back, rummaging through old tools, just trying to keep my hands busy. Around noon, I felt a hand on my shoulder. Hey, Dad, you okay? Faye asked, her eyes red and tired. I shook my head. She sat down beside me, hugged my neck like she used to when she was little. She cried, and we just stayed like that for a while, both of us silent. Finally, she spoke. Mom's okay. She has a concussion, stitches above her eye, a broken nose, and some bruises. Physically, she'll be fine. Emotionally, she's a mess. The doctor gave her something to help her sleep, but she keeps waking up screaming for you. Megan came to the hospital, and we stayed with her. Faye hesitated. Mom kept asking why you weren't there. She cried, Dad. She told us what happened and admitted what she did. You probably know already, so I won't go into it. She took a shaky breath. I tore her apart, Dad. I told her what she did was the worst thing anyone could do to someone they love. I told her I hated her. Hold on, girl. I cut in, voice sharp. Never say you hate your mother. She loves you and you love her. She messed up and I need to figure out what to do about it. Dad, she cheated. She lied to you, to all of us. She doesn't deserve our love. What she did doesn't matter, I said quietly. She's your mother. Yes, she is. Faye wiped her eyes. But she's also your wife. Do you still love her after what she did? I sat silent for a while, the storm inside me swirling. I don't know. I'm still in shock. I need to get my head straight before I say or do anything. Right now, it's all too much. My heart hurts too much. I don't know what to do. Daddy, she whispered, hugging me tight. I'll always be here for you. Whatever you decide, I'll back you up. I might not agree, but I'll stand by you. I love you, Daddy. We hugged and cried. After a while, we just sat there, watching a hummingbird dart between the trees, each of us lost in our own thoughts. I spent the weekend at Dad's, talking to Megan and Stuart on the phone, but avoiding Connie. I wasn't ready to face her yet. Not like this. Monday morning, I called work, told my boss I had a family emergency and needed a few days. I spent the next 3 days sitting outside, drowning in my thoughts. Faye stayed with me the whole time. I think she was worried about what I might do. I thought about the 25 years Connie and I had spent together. Sure, it wasn't perfect, no marriages, but the good times had been way more than the bad. I didn't know everything she'd done. I figured the kids knew more than I did, but I didn't want to know. The little I did know was already enough. Hearing all the details would destroy me. Faye brought me lunch, but it just sat there, cold, useless, right next to a crumpled roll of paper towels I'd used to wipe away the tears that still hadn't dried. 2 damn days had passed, but my head was still swimming in a fog, too goddamn thick to break through. Mark, a voice sliced through the haze. I didn't even bother lifting my head. Yeah, Connie, I muttered, like I gave a damn. I heard her move, slow, dragging, chair scraping across the floor like a damn funeral march. She sat down, probably thinking I'd just snap out of it and say something. But hell no. If I looked half as bad as she did, I'd be asking for forgiveness too. But I wasn't her. Mark, I'm sorry, she whispered. Her hands? The disaster. One bruised, swollen, the other wrapped up like a damn mummy. Her face? A war zone. Her nose taped up, looking like a pumpkin after a bad Halloween. Black stitches. Her eye? Completely screwed. Swollen shut, like someone taken a sledgehammer to it. She used to be hot. Hell, she used to make my heart race. But now, she looked like a goddamn wrecking ball had rolled over her. And maybe it was just me being pissed, but she wasn't beautiful anymore. She was just ugly. Mark, she tried again, voice barely above a whisper, shaking. I came to apologize. I know it doesn't mean anything right now, but it's all I've got. Megan brought me here. I couldn't even drive myself. I had to see you, talk to you, make you understand. I need you to see what I did to you. To us. I screwed up, not you. Me. You didn't deserve this. And I'm paying for it. I hurt myself too. I ruined something that was everything to me. Please, Mark, I need to tell you. Shut the hell up, I growled, cutting her off. I don't need to hear your bullshit. I already know enough to know you've ruined me. If you say another word, you'll finish me off. I swear to God, I'll lose my mind. Just shut the hell up. Mark, if you just... She was begging now, like her words could stitch this all back together. No, I barked, snapping. I don't want to hear any of your damn excuses. It's over. You wrecked it. Everything. There's nothing left for me to fix. Nothing. Her voice cracked as she pleaded, tears breaking through her tough act. Please, Mark, just listen. I said no, I shouted, standing up so fast the chair tipped over. My fists were shaking, jaw clenched tight enough to break my teeth. I can't stand to hear your voice anymore. It's over. You eliminated it. I'm done. You're dead to me. I turned away, walking out of the room, leaving her there crying like a goddamn child. A broken mess. I couldn't even look at her. Not anymore. Megan, my oldest, was there in a second. Dad, please. She needs you to hear her. You have to listen to her. You need to understand. Please. You can't just shut her out. I spun on her, cold as ice, rage burning through my veins. Megan, if you think for one damn second that listening to her pathetic excuses is going to fix anything, then you're dumber than I thought. Let her write me a damn letter. If she's got something to say, she can put it in words. But I'm not sitting here listening to her try to justify throwing away 25 goddamn years. She destroyed everything. Everything. And you want me to just forgive her? I can't even look at her right now, let alone forgive her. You want to fix it? Tell her to go screw herself. I'm not playing her game anymore. Without giving her another chance to argue, I stormed out, slammed the door so hard the whole damn house shook. I jumped in my car, not giving a single crap where I ended up. I wasn't coming back. Didn't matter. I didn't even have any tears left. They were all long gone. The next day, I went back to Dad's. Faye met me at the door with a smile and a hug. I needed that more than anything. She reminded me that even when things are rough, there's still hope. Maybe one day, I could smile again too. But that didn't answer the bigger question. Would my choice make anyone else happy? Dad was glad to see me too. During dinner, I told him my plan. Dad, I said, I'm moving in with you for a while. I need a break from everything, and you could use some help with the cooking and cleaning. After tasting your cooking, I know you need someone who can do more than just eggs and bacon. Faye, I turned to her, can you grab some things from the house? I can't go while your mom's there, but I need stuff for work. Just tell everyone I'm living here until I figure things out. Keep it simple. Say we're separated. No details. Got it, Dad, Faye said. I'll go tonight. Anything you want me to say to Mom? Just tell her I'm staying here, I said, my voice cold. She doesn't need to call me. When I'm ready, I'll call her. She took the list, and we talked about the new living arrangements. I could see Dad's mix of sadness and relief. He was happy to have me, but heartbroken about why. He didn't mention Connie or any of the mess. We even played checkers, something we hadn't done in years. Of course, Dad won. Later that night, when Faye came back with my stuff, I was surprised to see her car packed full. I brought my stuff too, she said firmly. I'm taking the guest room until school starts. There was a toughness in her face that I hadn't seen before. Later, I asked her about it. Faye's face twisted with frustration. Can you believe it? Megan said you're being childish, that you should just go home and fix things with Mom. And Stuart, he's just as bad. Said everyone cheats at some point, so no big deal. Told me you should forgive Mom and go find yourself a girl on the side. Can you believe those two a-holes? I opened my mouth to speak, but she cut me off. Dad, I'm not in the mood for their crap. You didn't do anything wrong, but you're sitting here and everyone thinks you're the bad guy. Mom ruined everything. She doesn't deserve forgiveness. That's why I'm here. They want you to crawl back and apologize? I couldn't live with that, so I packed my stuff and came here. I knew there was no changing her mind, so I stayed quiet and let her vent. For the next 2 months, I tried to live normally. I went to work, helped around the house, even taught Faye how to make veggie lasagna. Every few days, Megan or Stuart would call, asking when I was coming home. In my head, I could picture Connie standing behind them, waiting for my answer. I always told them the same thing. I was home with Dad, and I didn't want to talk to Connie or hear about her. Sometimes they tried to bring her up anyway, but I just hung up. One day, Stuart showed up out of nowhere, all serious, like he had something heavy to drop. We went out to the backyard, sat down on the patio. The sun was blaring down, but it didn't matter. My head was already in the gutter. Dad, he said, voice tight like he was about to lecture me, you need to come home. It's been 2 months. Mom's a mess. I'm going back to school soon, and I can't leave Megan stuck with her. She's falling apart, crying all the time, barely eating, barely sleeping. She's dropping weight like she's wasting away. Even your so-called friends are worried. She won't leave the house, just sits there crying. We've tried to get her out, but she's a damn wreck. Then he leaned in like he was really going to get me with this next part. His voice dropped, deadly serious. Dad, you've punished her enough. You need to get over it. She's sorry. She's hurting too. You got to let it go and come home. I froze. My blood went cold. I just stared at him. The same kid I coached, the same kid I spent hours on, helping him with his Eagle Scout, teaching him right from wrong. But now he was a damn stranger. He was so caught up in his mom's mess, he didn't even see how much bullshit he was spitting. I had always told my kids, your word is your bond. Promises mean something. But now, he wasn't hearing me. He wasn't seeing it. Stuart, I said, my voice rougher than I meant, low but full of fire. You're a man now, so I'm going to talk to you like one. Get the hell out of my house. How dare you walk in here and tell me I'm immature? I didn't screw this up. She did. If you're okay with that, if you think what she did is fine, then you've completely lost your damn mind. You're not that kid I raised anymore. So go home. Take care of her. I'm staying right the hell here, and I'm not moving until I figure out what the hell I'm doing. Now get out of my face before I throw your A out." I stood up, not even looking at him. I wasn't going to waste another second on him. A few minutes later, I heard his car rev up, tires screeching as he took off. I didn't feel crap, not even the wind from the car pulling out, just numb. Faye went back to school the last week of August. I didn't hear from Megan or Stuart. I figured Stuart was back at school, and Megan was bouncing between her new husband and Connie. They didn't call. It was just Dad and me now. In mid-September, I got Connie's letter. I started reading it but had to shove it back in the envelope after a few lines. I wasn't ready to face it. The wound was still too fresh. I had told Megan if Connie wanted to clear her conscience, she should write it all down. But now that I had it, I couldn't bring myself to read it. Faye checked in every couple of days asking how I was and about Dad. She'd been talking to Megan and Stuart, who were still worried about their mom. Faye planned to come for my birthday in October, hoping I'd have made a decision by then. She said being in limbo wasn't good for anyone. I told her we'd talk when I was ready. On October 30th, I turned 50. Faye showed up early, ready to take me and Dad out for a big Italian dinner. "I want you to taste real lasagna, Dad," she teased. I smiled for the first time in months. We got back late. I helped Dad to bed, then went to the living room. Faye was waiting with a beer. "So, Dad, what's your decision?" she asked bluntly. I sighed heavily. "I don't know everything. I finally read her letter. I don't know if I believe all of it, but it's probably true. I still can't understand why she did what she did. Reconciliation seems unlikely, but I'm going to talk to her. I owe her that. If I don't believe her, I'll file for divorce. I've been miserable without her. So I'm calling her tomorrow." Faye's phone rang. "It's Megan," she said. "I'll be outside." She came back in a few minutes, looking pale, her eyes wide. She looked at me, then the floor, then back at her phone. Finally, she collapsed into my arms, sobbing uncontrollably. I held her until she calmed down enough to speak. "Dad, Mom's dead. Megan found her tonight in the bathroom. Looks like she swallowed a bottle of pills." I couldn't process it. "Connie, gone." It didn't make sense. Planning the funeral was overwhelming. I tried to keep it together for the kids, but they could tell I was barely holding on. At night, I'd sit in the backyard, staring at the swing that hadn't been used in years, thinking of better times. Now, I felt cold, completely alone. The guilt gnawed at me. I hadn't given her the pills, but I had pushed her away. I wanted her to feel my pain, but maybe I pushed too far. I never wanted her to die. I just wanted her to understand. Tomorrow was her funeral, the last time I'd see her, and I had to somehow pull myself together for that. But honestly, how the hell was I supposed to do that? How do you keep it together when the person you love, the person who meant everything to you, is lying dead in a box because of her own damn choices? Megan showed up, her face drained of color, looking like she'd seen a ghost. She stood in front of me, hesitant. "Dad, are you okay?" I just stared at her for a second, then shook my head. "No," I muttered, voice rough and ragged. "Not even close." Silence hung between us, thick as fog. I couldn't even look at her. I didn't know what to say. What could I say? She was gone, and nothing was going to bring her back. A minute passed, then Megan's voice sliced through the stillness, cold, sharp. "You know none of this would have happened if you'd just forgiven her. She made a mistake. You've made mistakes too, Dad. Hell, we all have. She couldn't live without you. Your damn pride eliminated her." I felt my blood boil. My own daughter turning on me like that, blaming me for her mother's passing. What the hell? I hadn't done anything wrong. I wasn't the one who screwed around. I wasn't the one lying to everyone for months pretending nothing was wrong. I didn't swallow pills to numb the guilt. That was her, not me. I just stared at her, stunned. My mouth went dry. "What the hell did you just say?" I barely managed to get the words out. "You're blaming me for this? After everything she did?" Her face tightened, but she wasn't backing down. "And Daddy's gonna have a long, hard day tomorrow," she said, quieter now, but still with that sharp edge to her voice. "Everyone's coming over after the funeral. You don't have to do a damn thing. Hell, you don't even have to show up if you don't want to. Stuart and Mom's friends will take care of everything. You won't have to lift a finger." Megan didn't want me at the funeral. What the hell was going on? Maybe I was too emotional, but I couldn't shake it. I didn't want a confrontation with my daughter on the day before her mother's funeral. So I went inside and down to the family room where I had been sleeping. The next morning, I grabbed my bedding, threw it in the laundry basket, and put on my suit. The kids were already dressed and waiting for me. Dad looked worn out. Faye adjusted my tie just like her mom used to. I kissed her forehead, took her hand, and we walked to the limo. Faye held my hand the whole ride, her head down, silent. At the funeral home, the foyer was packed. As we entered, everyone turned to look. But something felt off. No pity in their eyes, just disdain. Most of them avoided eye contact. A few nodded, but I could tell they were pretending not to see me. My boss stepped forward, shook my hand, and said he was sorry. His wife and the others gave him weird looks, but he was the only one who spoke to me. Meanwhile, the kids got hugs and sympathy from everyone. I didn't understand. It wasn't like my mother's funeral. Faye led me to Connie's casket, and we knelt to pay our respects. Soft organ music played, but behind it, whispers floated. Unforgiving fool left her. It's his fault. Hypocrite eliminated her. Faye squeezed my hand. She'd heard them too. The preacher spoke. Connie's friend sang one of her favorites, not the usual funeral song. After the song, the friend shook hands with the kids, then went back to her seat without even looking at me or Faye. Several friends spoke, then Megan stood up last. She talked about mercy and forgiveness, about how Jesus forgave those who crucified him, and how we should do the same. As I listened, something inside me broke. I finally understood. At the gravesite, a cold wind swept across the cemetery. We sat in silence while the preacher said his final words. He handed each of us a red rose to place on the casket. I went first, then Faye, then Megan and Stuart. Dad's friend helped him past the grave. It was one of the most emotional days of my life. As we were about to leave, I stopped Megan and Stuart. Every bit of anger burned inside me. I said what had been building up. Megan, Stuart, I know what's going on, and I've made my decision. Because of what you did, the hate you spread, defending your mom and making me out to be the villain, you're both dead to me. Don't ever speak to me again. Don't come to my house. Don't think about socializing with me. From now on, I'm not your father. I turned to the crowd and added coldly, that includes all of you. Shock spread through the mourners. Without another word, I took Faye's hand, and we walked to the limo. I told the driver to pull away, even while Dad was still being wheeled toward the car. We left Megan and Stuart standing by the side of the road. Only my boss, his wife, and a couple of neighbors came back to the house. They were the only ones left. Megan and Stuart went to a friend's house. Faye told me later that the story going around was that I had cruelly dumped Connie after she made a small mistake, and that I had driven her to self-destruction. Everyone thought I eliminated her. Faye went back to school. When she came home for breaks, it was like turning on a light in a dark room. Megan was with her husband's family. Stuart was back at school. Between semesters, I focused on work. It was the only thing that made sense. It helped dull the ache. But 2 or 3 times a week, I'd wake up in the middle of the night, expecting Connie to be next to me. Some nights, I'd relive the horror, seeing her and John Jablonski together at the Holiday Inn. In her letter, Connie confessed that her lover was an old neighbor. He and his wife moved away 2 years ago. The fool had even shown up at our 25th anniversary party. Time passed, and the pain got easier, but it never really went away. Megan had a baby girl named her Connie. A year later, she had a son, Chance, after her husband's dad. I never met my grandkids. Stuart married the girl he'd talked about from college. He sent me an invite to the wedding, but I didn't go. 2 years later, she found out he cheated and they divorced. Stuart had adopted the same twisted logic. Everyone cheats eventually, and it cost him. He moved to California. I never saw him again after Connie's funeral. I only knew about all this because Faye made sure I did. She'd drop bits of info into our talks, reminding me that no matter how bad they hurt me, Megan and Stuart were still my kids. My boss at work became my best and only true friend. He listened when I needed it, ignored me when I didn't. Early on, he pulled me aside and said, "Mark, you've got a year to get your act together, or I'll have to replace you." That tough love pushed me harder than anything else. I turned things around, became the best manager in the company, and 4 years later, I was offered a senior role in Florida. In 3 months, I sold my house, moved to a smaller place in Orlando, and started managing the whole distribution center for the Eastern U.S. I didn't forget Bo, though. He'd been overlooked during all the chaos. When we settled in, I got him a junior golden retriever. Now it was just me, Bo, and Luke, happy in our new home. I lost almost all my friends. A few people still talked to me, but most turned their backs, leaving me invisible. Faye graduated with honors and got a great job in Florida. She stayed with me until she found her own place, though I selfishly hoped it wouldn't be too soon. Dad passed away a year after Connie. It's been 5 years since everything changed. I lost almost everything, except Faye. But even she was building her own life, and I couldn't blame her. I had to find something to fill the void, or I'd end up a miserable old man alone with my dogs. Pathetic, right? I needed something to do. I'd always loved writing, though for years I only wrote business reports. As work became routine and the pain faded into a scar, I started writing short stories again. I even sold a couple to a local magazine. One weekend, while Faye was out on a date, I started sketching what I thought would be another short story. But it turned into an outline about the hardest chapter of my life. I hesitated, knowing it would drag up painful memories. But one evening, I started writing. 4 months later, I finished the draft. It wasn't perfect, but it was honest. It was mine. I boxed it up and shelved it, not ready to show anyone. The catharsis came from writing it, facing my demons and defeating them, at least enough to breathe again. Feeling better, I signed up for a creative writing class at the local community college to polish my skills. Most of the class was made up of 20-somethings who couldn't tell an adverb from an adjective, but 2 seniors like me stood out. We clicked and decided to show the younger crowd what good writing looked like. Maurice was retired, planning to write about his family's role in the Civil War. Alicia was a widow who had raised 5 kids, and after her husband's end, used his insurance to start a new life in Florida. She was taking courses to switch careers. The more Alicia and I talked, the more we realized we had in common. I'd learned to listen carefully, and since I hadn't dated in nearly 30 years, I paid attention. She talked, and I made mental notes. One afternoon, she caught herself. "You know," she said with a playful smile, "I'm doing all the talking. Where are you from, and why are you here alone in a writing class?" I gave her the short version of my story, then tried to turn it back to her. But she wouldn't let it go. She kept asking until I finally said, "If you really want to hear the whole thing, come over for dinner next Saturday." Her face lit up with the biggest smile I'd seen in years. "It would be my pleasure," she said. Dinner was wonderful. Alicia and I stepped onto the patio under the swaying palms. She looked at me and said, "I don't know many men who can make a veggie lasagna, let alone one as good as this. What other surprises you got up your sleeve?" I laughed. "I think you know just about everything. I run the Folks Industries Distribution Center. My daughter Faye lives with me, and she's kindly giving us privacy tonight. My wife passed away over 5 years ago. I got 2 other kids, and you've met Bo and Luke, my golden retrievers." "That's me. Boring, huh?" Alicia teased. "Well, you bribed me into coming tonight, said you'd tell me your story." I excused myself, went inside, and came back with a box. "This," I said, setting it on the table, "is what you don't know. I've been writing for years. Sold a couple short stories to a local mag. Most of it's just fun stuff, but this one's different. It's about my life, my family, and the toughest times I've faced. Writing it helped me deal with Connie's passing. It's all here in this box." I paused. "I haven't shown it to anyone. I'd love your opinion, but be honest. I think it's just good for holding a door open on a windy night, but still, I'd love for you to read it." Her eyes lit up. "I'd love to read it. What's it called?" "Fair Weather Friends," I said. She picked it up, eyes wide. "Wow, this is substantial. It's only 987 pages, I joked. "Be honest, don't hold back. I won't show it to Faye. She lived through it all. I don't want to hurt her." "Mark," she said seriously, "I'd love to read your story, and I'll be honest, really honest. I'll start tomorrow." The rest of the night, we talked about writing, Florida nightlife, and our favorite movies. The weather was perfect. When I walked her to her car, she kissed me gently on the cheek. I felt like a teenager again as I cleaned up, something warm stirring inside me I hadn't felt in a long time. Alicia wasn't at class the next meeting. I hadn't heard from her since dinner. I started to wonder if reading my manuscript had scared her off. Maybe she thought I was some kind of freak. I thought about calling, but didn't want to be intrusive. 2 weeks later, I came home to a message on my answering machine. "Hi, Mark, it's Alicia. I want you to come to my house for dinner Friday night. My son's in town, and I want you to meet him. I might have a little surprise for you, so grab a couple bottles of that good white wine we had the other night and be here at 7. Call me back. Bye." Friday night, I dressed casually but nicely and brought 2 bottles of 2012 Balthasar Res Riesling Cabinet Hattenheimer Schützenhaus. I'd read it was one of the best white wines of the year and paired well with lasagna, so I hoped it would be good for whatever Alicia was serving. Hi, Mark. Come on in. Alicia greeted me, her face lighting up. She gave me a quick tour, then led me out to the patio. A small table was set for 3 with candles and wine glasses. A man stepped from between 2 orange trees into the light. Mark, this is my son Barry, Alicia said. Barry, this is Mark Jenkins. Pleasure to meet you, Barry said, shaking my hand. Mom's told me a lot of good things about you. She's impressed, and that's hard to do. It's nice to meet you too, Barry, I chuckled. But whatever she told you is probably a fabrication from our creative writing class. Not much interesting about me. Alicia smiled, took the wine bottles, and put them in the fridge while Barry and I sat down. She joined us, took my hand, and smiled. Mark, I invited you here under false pretenses, she said. We'll eat once the wine's cool, but I want to talk first. I have some amazing news. I think it'll surprise you, hopefully in a good way. Curiosity hit, but a wave of nervousness hit too. Mark, she continued, my son came today to meet you because I did something you probably wouldn't have approved of if I'd asked. But I did it anyway, and now it's too late. So if you're mad, just be mad. She took a breath. I finished your book in 2 days. I couldn't put it down. Once I hit halfway, I realized it's the most inspiring and heartbreaking thing I've ever read. I cried when you talked about going to live with your dad after Connie. I cried again at the end with your kids. Mark, it's the best book I've ever read, and I had to share it. I sent it to my son. Barry picked up where she left off. Mom's right, Mr. Jenkins. It's the best first novel I've ever read. I've read a lot. I work at Prentice Press in New York. I'm the assistant managing editor, and part of my job is screening manuscripts. We get about 100 new ones a month. If 3 of us agree a book is worthy, we help the author through editing and prep it for publication. Your book's already past that. We want to publish it. He smiled. We'll talk details after dinner, but for now, congratulations. You've got something special here. It's going to be a hit. I sat there, stunned. Alicia's smile only grew as I struggled for words. Finally, she kissed me gently on the forehead and went inside to start dinner. While she made the salad, I finally regained my voice. We talked about the book, both of us getting teary at parts. Alicia served her version of mahi mahi, and over peach cobbler, Barry explained the editing process, promotion, and royalties. I wasn't going to get rich, but that didn't matter. Just the thought of sharing my story with others made my head spin. Later, as we sipped wine under the stars, Alicia and I joked about being famous authors like Stephen King or J.K. Rowling. I wasn't anywhere near their level, but it was fun to dream. It was past midnight when I stood to leave. Alicia walked me to my car, and this time she kissed me on the lips. A kiss that hit me deep. I realized I was 55, but I wasn't dead inside. Connie flashed in my mind, making me sad, but it didn't put out the small flame Alicia had lit. For the next 3 months, I worked with an editor at Prentice Press, revising my manuscript. We met once and spent countless hours on emails and calls. The first step was transferring my Word doc into their editing software. It was fine for editing, but not great for writing. When both of us were happy with the final product, they sent me a printed version via FedEx. I spent the whole weekend going through it, tweaking line by line. No matter how many times I read it, I found something to change. My editor had warned me that would happen, and she was right. I worked full-time at Folks Industries and spent every evening on the book. Faye was thrilled and kept reminding me to stay healthy, eat right, and exercise, like a worried mother. Alicia visited on weekends, so as not to disturb my creative energies. We'd cook, eat, and talk about everything. Talking to Alicia helped me more than any therapist could. With her, I faced the past and realized something crucial. Connie and I were both at fault. We each contributed to our downfall in our own way. Our friendship grew, and the night I sent off the final edits, Alicia had a reward planned. She stayed over, and we celebrated in every way possible. Faye, realizing I had company, spent the night with her boyfriend. Alicia helped me appreciate life again. My book came out on May 1st. I had to do a book tour with signings across the country, including one in Ellicott City, my old hometown. I was both excited and nervous. I took 3 weeks off work and set off on the tour. It wasn't the glamorous life some might imagine. For 28 days, I flew or took the train to a new city, checked into a hotel, and went to book signings where I met readers and fans who told me how Fairweather Friends had changed their lives. It was great, but the travel and hotel rooms lost their charm fast. Alicia showed up in 2 cities, unannounced, just to have me sign her book. The routine was fun, but when she left, I felt empty. We stayed in touch by phone, but it wasn't the same as holding her. I began to feel something I hadn't in years, something only someone in love can understand. I hope she felt the same. The last stop on my tour was my hometown. I'd requested it, and Prentice made it happen. I knew the bookstore well. It was just a few miles from my old house. The event ran from noon to 4. When I arrived, a long line of people was already outside. There were about 50 copies of my book on a table, with a large poster of the cover announcing the signing event. I recognized a few familiar faces in line. First were my old boss and his wife. I gave them both a hug, exchanged contact info, and was gently nudged toward the signing table. I was so happy to see them that I almost forgot about the crowd behind them. I signed books, smiled for photos, and chatted with readers. It turned out to be a lot better than I expected. About 30 minutes into the event, one of my old friends from the neighborhood came up. He'd avoided my gaze at Connie's funeral. I signed his book, smiled, and offered my hand. To my surprise, he leaned in and whispered, "I'm sorry for how I treated you. I didn't get it. Not until I read your book." He turned away, embarrassed, and slipped into the crowd. More apologies trickled in throughout the afternoon. Old friends came up, quietly expressing regret. The most surreal moment came when Lenore Jablonski approached my table with a copy of my book. She smiled awkwardly. "Hi, Mark," she said. "I'm sorry we're meeting like this after everything that happened, but I thought I should say hello. I can't apologize for what John did, but I kicked him out after Connie died. We've been divorced 4 years. I'm engaged to a contractor from Annapolis now." She shifted nervously. "And just so you know, there was a rumor that you were looking for John, maybe for revenge. Well, he must have heard it because he quit his job and went to Saudi Arabia as a computer consultant. I haven't seen him since." She smiled slyly. "And yeah, I started that rumor." I didn't know what to say. After a long pause, I just took her book and signed it, "To Lenore. No fair weather friend. I hope some of the words in this book help you find your deliverance as I have found mine. Thanks for listening. Mark." I walked around the table, hugged her briefly, and she left. By 4, the line was still long. I looked up and saw Megan standing by a book rack watching. She didn't come forward, didn't say anything. Her face was subdued, almost sorrowful. When I glanced up again, she was gone. Last in line was Faye. She gave me a tight hug and made small talk as she walked me to her car. She drove me back to the hotel, not a Holiday Inn this time, and we talked in the car about Alicia. "I like her, Dad," Faye said. "I really hope you do too." When I admitted that I thought I was falling for Alicia, Faye wrapped her arms around me and sobbed on my shoulder. Just then, a police car pulled up. Out stepped Sergeant Greg, my old acquaintance. He tapped on the window and greeted me with a wide grin. It felt like a slice of the old days. We caught up, laughed, hugged. When Greg mentioned he hadn't read my book, I pulled a copy from my bag and signed it. "Greg, meeting you changed my life. No offense." "Mark?" Greg chuckled. "Someone had to do it, Mark." After Greg left, Faye and I went back to the house for dinner. All in all, returning to where it all started wasn't as bad as I feared. A few days later, Megan showed up at my front door. Alicia and I had just finished breakfast, discussing Fair Weather Friends being ranked 3rd on the New York Times bestseller list. But all of that faded when I saw my daughter. "Hi, Daddy, how are you?" Megan asked, her voice uneasy. "Hi, Megan, I'm fine," I said carefully. "What can I do for you?" "I was just in the neighborhood, so thought I'd stop by," she said, sounding embarrassed. I crossed my arms. "This neighborhood is 900 miles from yours, Megan? A little out of the way, isn't it?" Before she could respond, Alicia appeared behind me and placed a hand on my shoulder. "Would you like to introduce me, Mark?" she asked firmly. I stepped aside. "Alicia, this is my daughter, Megan." Alicia squeezed past me, hugged Megan warmly. "Come in. I've heard so much about you," she said cheerfully. The two of them went into the living room, completely ignoring me. They sat down, chatting nonstop. I used the time to clean the kitchen, passing through the living room occasionally to see them laughing and showing pictures of Megan's kids. Finally, Alicia called out, "Honey, come out here and join us." I knew that tone. It was a command, not a request. I sat down at the table beside Alicia. She grabbed my hand, holding me in place. Megan stared at our entwined fingers. The silence grew thick until Alicia broke it. Okay, since neither of you is saying anything, I will, she said, her voice firm. Mark, I invited Megan here because she wants to tell you something. I knew you wouldn't invite her yourself, so I did. I know I'm just a guest in your house, but if you want me to stay a guest, you're going to sit here and listen. I looked back and forth between Megan and Alicia, feeling the tension building. They had me cornered, and I wasn't about to start a fight, so I just sat back, ready for whatever came next. Dad, Megan started, her voice shaky. I came to check on you, and that's not a lie. I also came to apologize. I stayed quiet, listening as she struggled to find the right words. Dad, I was wrong about a lot of things, especially about you. I blamed you for everything that happened with Mom Stewart and me. I only saw a small part of what was going on. After reading your book, I finally saw things from your side. I felt like such a fool. I didn't realize how much you hurt. I guess I never thought you had feelings. Not really. You hardly showed them when we were kids. She took a deep breath. Your book made me grow up. I finally realized that even though I'm an adult with a husband and kids, I was always just your little girl. I always thought Mom was a saint even after everything she did to you. You were always the strong one, like nothing ever bothered you. But now I get it. It was just a front to protect yourself. Her eyes filled with tears. Mom broke through that shield and hurt you more than I could have imagined. For so long, I thought, if you just forgiven her and come home, everything would be fine. I didn't understand it took real strength to walk away from someone you loved for over 25 years, just to protect us. She wiped her nose on her sleeve. Dad, I'm sorry for not giving you credit. I abandoned you and blamed you for everything after Mom died, but I was wrong. I see that now. She looked down at her hands, twisting them. I'm trying to fix my mistakes. I bought copies of your book and gave them to moms and your old friends. I told them the truth, that you did nothing wrong and that you were hurt deeper than anyone knew. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I saw you at your book signing. I wanted to hug you, but I didn't have the guts. Tears spilled down her face. I came here to apologize and to ask you to be part of my life again. It's been 5 years, Dad. You've never even met your grandkids. I want you to come home. I want to be your daughter again. I don't want to be dead to you. I love you, Daddy. Please love me again. She buried her head in her arms and sobbed. I felt a sharp pang of guilt. I glanced at Alicia, who was watching me carefully, waiting for me to say something. I needed time to think. So I stalled. What about Stuart? I asked. How does he feel? Did he know you were coming? Megan wiped her eyes. Stuart's an idiot, Dad. What Mom did hit him the hardest. After Lori caught him cheating and divorced him, he moved to California, jumping from one girl to another. I heard he even dated a married woman. He left town before things got ugly. He still thinks everyone cheats. He doesn't know I'm here, and honestly, I don't care what he thinks. That gave me some time to process, but I still wasn't ready to commit to anything. Megan, I asked cautiously, what's your plan now? Are you staying here? Do you have a place? She smiled weakly through her tears. I'm staying with Faye. She wanted me to check out her new place. I'll be here a couple of days, then head back home. I nodded. Here's what I'll do, I said. I'll think about what you said and let you know what I decide. That's the best I can offer right now. She smiled faintly. Dad, honestly, I didn't expect this much. Thank you. She stood up and turned to Alicia. Alicia, it was nice to finally meet you. Take care of my dad for me. And just like that, Megan was gone. She had come like a storm and left just as quickly. But this time, I wasn't alone. Alicia was there to keep me grounded. I couldn't imagine my life without her. When we were alone again, I finally let the emotions out. I didn't want Alicia to see me cry, but she already knew. A few months later, after our Caribbean cruise, paid for by Prentice Press to celebrate Fairweather Friends hitting #1, I flew to Maryland with Alicia. I met my grandkids, now 2 and 4, and introduced Alicia to the town that held so many memories. Megan and I started rebuilding our relationship, step by step, making new memories to cover the old wounds. Alicia, with her experience as a grandmother, gave me advice on the awkward moments. But the best moment came during dinner with Megan's family when Alicia and I shared our news. We have something to tell you, I said, reaching for Alicia's hand. We're getting married. The decision had been made on the cruise. We didn't want to waste any more time apart. Faye had already started planning the wedding.